Lebensborn, literally, Fount of Life, was an SS-initiated, state-supported, registered association in Nazi Germany with the goal of raising the birth rate of Aryan children of people classified as racially pure and healthy based on Nazi racial hygiene and health ideology. Lebensborn was established by Heinrich Himmler, and provided welfare to its mostly unmarried mothers, encouraged anonymous births by unmarried women at their maternity homes, and mediated adoption of these children by likewise racially pure and healthy parents, particularly SS members and their families. The Cross of Honor of the German Mother was given to the women who bore the most Aryan children. Abortion was legalized, and, more commonly, endorsed, by the Nazis for disabled and non-Germanic children, but strictly punished otherwise. The Lebensborn e.V. EV stands for Eingetragener Verein or Registered Association, meaning Fount of Life, was founded on December 12, 1935, to counteract falling birth rates in Germany, and to promote Nazi eugenics. 2. Located in Munich, the organization was partly an office within the Schutzstaffel, SS, responsible for certain family welfare programs, and partly a society for Nazi leaders. On September 13, 1936, Heinrich Himmler wrote the following to members of the SS. The organization Lebensborn e.V. serves the SS leaders in the selection and adoption of qualified children. The organization Lebensborn e.V. is under my personal direction, is part of the Race and Settlement Central Bureau of the SS, and has the following obligations. Support racially, biologically and hereditarily valuable families with many children. Placement and care of racially, biologically and hereditarily valuable pregnant women, who, after thorough examination of their and the progenitors' families by the Race and Settlement Central Bureau of the SS, can be expected to produce equally valuable children. Care for the children. Care for the children's mothers. It is the honorable duty of all leaders of the Central Bureau to become members of the organization Lebensborn e.V. The application for admission must be filed prior to September 23, 1936. In 1939, membership stood at 8,000, of which 3,500 were SS leaders. The Lebensborn office was part of SS Rasse und Siedlungsamt, SS Race and Settlement Main Office, until 1938, when it was transferred to Hauptamt Personenlicher Stab Reichsführer SS, personal staff of the Reichsführer SS, i.e. directly overseen by Himmler. Leaders of Lebensborn e.V. were SS Standartenführer Max Solman, DA, and SS Oberführer Dr. Gregor Ebner. Initially, the program served as a welfare institution for wives of SS officers. The organization ran facilities, primarily maternity homes, where women could give birth or get help with family matters. The program also accepted unmarried women who were either pregnant or had already given birth and were in need of aid, provided that both the woman and the father of the child were classified as racially valuable. About 60% of the mothers were unmarried. The program allowed them to give birth secretly away from home without social stigma. In case the mothers wanted to give up the children, the program also had orphanages and an adoption service. When dealing with non-SS members, parents and children were usually examined by SS doctors before admission. The first Lebensborn home, known as Heim Hochland, opened in 1936, in Steinhöring, a tiny village not far from Munich. The first home outside of Germany opened in Norway in 1941. Many of these facilities were established in confiscated houses and former nursing homes owned by Jews. Leaders of the League of German Girls were instructed to recruit young women with the potential to become good breeding partners for SS officers. While Lebensborn e.V. established facilities in several occupied countries, its activities were concentrated around Germany, Norway and occupied northeastern Europe, mainly Poland. The main focus in occupied Norway was aiding children born to Norwegian women and fathered by German soldiers. In northeastern Europe, the organization, in addition to services provided to SS members, engaged in the transfer of children, mostly orphans, to families in Germany. In 1939, the Nazis started to kidnap children from foreign countries, mainly from Yugoslavia and Poland, but also including Russia, Ukraine, Czechoslovakia, Romania, Estonia, Latvia, and Norway, for the Lebensborn program. They started to do this because it is our duty to take with us to remove them from their environment. Either we win over any good blood that we can use for ourselves and give it a place in our people, or we destroy this blood, Himmler reportedly said. The Nazis would seize children in full view of the parents. The kidnapped children were administered several tests and were categorized into 3 groups. Those considered desirable to be included into the German population. Those who were acceptable, and the unwanted. The children classified as unwanted were taken to concentration camps to work or were killed. The children from the other groups, if between the ages of 2 and 6, were placed with families in the program to be brought up by them in a kind of foster child status. Children of ages 6 to 12 were placed in German boarding schools. The schools assigned the children new German names and taught them to be proud to be part of Germany. They forced the children to forget their birth parents and erased any records of their ancestry. Those who resisted Germanization were beaten and, if a child continued to rebel, he or she would be sent to a concentration camp. In the final stages of the war, the files of all children kidnapped for the program were destroyed. As a result, researchers have found it nearly impossible to learn how many children were taken. The Polish government has claimed that 10,000 children were kidnapped, and less than 15% were returned to their biological parents. Other estimates include numbers as high as 200,000, although according to Dirk Moses a more likely number is around 20,000.